Thank you, and thank you all for joining us. We've seen kind of where personal transport originated now. This is a little bit more where we're taking it in terms of the next stage. This weekend is a huge one for us as a joint Jaguar Land Rover brand. Land Rover's been involved with the Rolex 3-Day for quite some time now, and we decided we're going to crash the party a little bit this year by getting ourselves involved as well. Part of that goes to, over the last year, we've been doing a lot as a brand, and it's been an extremely exciting time, from announcing the first 30-mile-per-gallon Jaguar ever, introducing all-wheel drive, which for the northern states especially is critical, and then a lot of discussion around F-Type, which started just over a year ago at the New York Auto Show. And this is really the spur in terms of where we're going for a performance side of things over the next 6 months, with other things like the XFRS, the XJR launching this summer. So there's a lot of horsepower coming out of our side of the camp. As far as this car, it's critical to us. This is something that's been missing from the lineup for 40 years now, when the E-Type last went out of production, a proper two-seat sports car. So we're extremely proud of where this has gone. When we talk about the natural selection of the horses, our engineers have kind of been doing the same thing, making sure that we have the ultimate package here. And all that starts from the internals. So I'm still not going to let you see it. Because that goes, some of the unique things with this car, 50-50 weight distribution, all supercharged engines, depending on your flavor, 340, 380, or 495 horsepower. At the extreme end, 0 to 60s in 4.2 seconds. All that comes through a new ZF 8-speed quick shift gearbox, which the transmission shifts less than 200 milliseconds. So it's one of the fastest automatic transmissions that you can get on the market today. Beyond that, then we get into things like limited slip differentials, electronic differentials, upgraded brakes, 18 to 20-inch wheels and tire combinations. Everything's been engineered for ultimate performance. So this is unlike anything else we have on the road today. Beyond that, then we get into the sexy part of things, which is the design. And we think we have some of the best designers in the world. Now I'll use my beautiful assistants to show that off. Yes. I'll let you take it in for a second. The design intent here, and thankfully we have some of the greatest designers in the world. We actually just won 2013 World Car Design of the Year with this. It was announced at the New York Auto Show. The whole concept behind this was similar to classic sports cars. We've got all those great internals to make it a proper sports car from a performance end. The idea was wrap the body and everything as tightly around that package as you can. So that's where you get things like the extremely low hood, the really big hood bulge that we have on all of our cars, which really kind of allows the hood to wrap around the engine as tightly as possible. The unique thing with the hood is actually it's one-piece aluminum clamshell, so it's a reverse opening. We're on our 4th generation of all-aluminum platforms, which this is an all-aluminum car, bar for 2 pieces of steel that are in the uprights and 2 pieces of magnesium actually that help hold some of the other parts. So extremely lightweight, it's only about 3,600 pounds. But with the hood, it's a completely new forming process. So they've been able to make aluminum. We get it into edges that were never possible before. And that's part of this experience with 4 generations of aluminum now. Other unique pieces, the headlight design, some of the classic Jaguar shape. These are actually LEDs, running lights. And one of the unique things, this car has a lot of inspiration from different areas. Our designers, a lot of them are sci-fi geeks, and they absolutely love Star Wars. So the internals, and this is on actually a lot of the cars that you guys came with, the internals of the headlight were actually inspired by the TIE fighters from Star Wars. So you'll notice it from the center part, the xenon bulb is actually the heart of the TIE fighter, and then the 2 blades on the side are representative of the wings. The other thing that's critical with this car and everything that we do as a brand is Ian Callum talks about purity of line a lot. So, and that doesn't mean adding a whole lot of lines everywhere. It's about a few key lines that let all the rest of the car speak for itself. With the F-Type, it's that line that starts from the very bottom, comes all the way across the top, through the door panel, and then it fades away just behind the door. As you each get a chance to look at it closer, you can really see how it disappears. And then a second one picks up, and it really creates the rear haunch. So the idea here was to get the car as low as possible. And to do that, our engineers actually hated our designers, because the lower you make the back of the car, the more the car wants to lift when you're going at high speeds. So we have things like, we'll show you after, electronic spoiler, which raises at 60 miles an hour, retracts at 40 miles an hour. That keeps that high-speed stability. Other unique things, you'll notice no door handle. The door handle is fully retractable, so this is using technology so that the designers can get a much cleaner shape to the car. Other unique things, they like to have a little bit of jewelry on the car, but not too much. This goes back to that purity piece. So on the side, you have that little chrome as far as the air extractor. The other piece of jewelry for them, the hood vents at the top. Another reason they love these, from a technical perspective, it helps cool the engine. It also eliminates some of the pressure under the engine. But at the same time, it gives you that great effect in terms of getting that heat rising from the engine bay when you're sitting at the stoplights, which our designers absolutely love. So they're very eccentric at the end of the day. The wheels, here we have the gloss black. In total, there's actually about 8 different wheels available, including a lot of forged, extremely lightweight wheels, one that even has carbon fiber blades. So some very unique things going on there as well. At the rear of the car, for some of you that are over here, maybe everyone can kind of just slide back, because this is a great part of the car.
That's what most people will see.
We've had some people call this the greatest rear end in the automotive industry. Wow. Drum it in the trunk. And part of that is the width. The car's actually about, despite being over a foot shorter than an XK, it's actually an inch wider. And when you compare it to the rest of the segment, it's actually wider than things like, it's 5 inches wider than a 911. It's wider than things like an SL or a 6 Series. So it's got very unique proportions to it, which hopefully now you're seeing, which you really can't capture in a lot of photography. Along with that really low tail, another thing, they wanted to be inspired somewhat by the E-Type, but they didn't want this to be a total remake or heritage car. So there's a few details. One is the tail light, which that originally came from the E-Type design, that roundel. But here what they tried to do was modernize it by using a lot of LEDs. So that's how they get this extremely thin. They tested the limits of regulations, actually. This was basically as small as we can make a taillight and still pass U.S. legislation. But that was the intent in terms of keeping those LED strips really thin and then just having that one inspiration from the E-Type. And this is the kind of thing you'll start to see as we launch new Jaguar models in the future as well. This cohesive design language that they're all connected together. Another fantastic piece, the lower diffuser. In this case, we have the V8 model, the 495 horsepower version with the quad exhaust. Back to inspiration, when you get a chance to look closer, you'll notice all the drill holes inside the exhaust tip. That's inspired by afterburners from jet fighters. The other one, on the V6 version, there's actually 2 exhaust tips in the center of the car. And that a unique story. One of our designers spent a lot of time in Italy, more than any of our finance guys wanted him to. And what wound up happening, he actually got together with a motorcycle exhaust manufacturer. And what's unique there, they developed a completely new process for an automotive exhaust tip, which is an all single-piece stainless steel that's rolled. It's one of the biggest forms in terms of what we've been able to do with stainless steel ever. That motorcycle exhaust manufacturer is the only one with the patent in terms of being able to develop it, and it's only going on the F-Type. So again, some of these unique things that this car does that basically no one else does. With the exhaust, I'll ask my slightly less beautiful assistant to actually give you a sense of what it means. And I'll just ask you to slide over a little bit, because it does like to...
If you have not had the first yet, you may want to get it now.
But the exhaust, we didn't benchmark competitive set, they actually benchmarked exotics. So Ferrari, Lamborghini, Maserati. So the idea was to get a really sharp exhaust, which because of supercharging, you can get a lot of sound coming out of the engine. You don't have turbos quelling any of the sound. This thing absolutely screams. This doesn't even do it justice because when you really get it on the open road, you start to get, it's that emotional aspect. So you get the performance, you get the design, and you get the sound. It's all the pieces that you need from a proper sports car. So I'll leave it at that. It's available starting end of May. Pricing starts at $69,000 for the entry version, and then it goes from there depending on the engine and the power that you want, and also some of the performance parts. But we're extremely excited. Hopefully you all are as well. And if I'll be around, any questions you have, but please take a closer look.